I moved to Disney World to cure my depression. Did it work? So this guy here,
3 months ago.
Andrew Platt, he this was his first video that did well like 3 weeks ago, and it looks like he's getting subs. And I'm not watching his video to shit on him. I'm just watching it to kind of show you guys, you want to shit on the ICP people. Let's examine a guy who doesn't have the community that someone who is a juggalo has, and is just sort of drifting through life like a leaf.
I decided to pack up everything I own. Moved
here we
3
go.
months ago, I decided to pack up everything I own, move 2,000 miles away from the city I grew up in to live in Orlando, Florida, where I now visit theme parks every single day. I want to tell a story of why I did it, how I did it, and how it's going. Now, I'm sure a lot of you can kind of relate to this. You spend most of your free time scrolling through social media, maybe watching YouTube or Netflix, or just playing video games. You don't really have a lot of close friends, but you also don't really know where to meet new friends as an adult. Well, it definitely feels like the world has become a bit of an antisocial place these days. It's just so much more convenient for everybody to just stay in their own little bubble with their endless entertainment tailored specifically towards them.
So, he kind of lays this out at the beginning that he admits, he's looking for community. He's looking for, Diogenes, back in the day, whatever it was, like 80 AD or whatever, Diogenes supposedly walked around with a lantern. He would light it during the day to burn oil to make some point. I don't know what the point was, that he's retarded or something. And he would walk around with a lantern lit during the day, and he would say, "I'm looking for an honest man." This guy, this is a modern Diogenes, but he's saying, "I'm looking for someone who gives a shit about me. I'm looking for one person who might care if I live or die." This guy has nobody. He has a job where he works from home. He went through the pandemic in Salt Lake City, which, as we know, is Salt Lake City is Mormons are like Christian insane clown pot in terms of the love for soda and the everything else. But this guy here, he has depression. Doesn't look like he goes to the gym or does anything like that, and he works inside all day. He doesn't get any sunlight. He doesn't go on walks. He doesn't have anybody to talk to about his life. So let's see how he wants to cure it. In the way Herman Melville tried to cure his depression, which, ultimately I don't know if it worked. I'm sure it alleviated it, is he wanted to go on whaling ships and sail around the world and see the world. That's what this young man is doing. He's moving across the country to go to theme parks. So Walt Disney may take him on his quests.
And it keeps us always thinking that we're satisfied. There's not a whole lot of real-world public places that people just go and spend time and hang out. Especially not places for single introverted people.
Is that true, Dylan? Mormons love to party?
So
I didn't know that.
Stay in their own comfort zone and stick to what's convenient. But speaking of convenience, I've actually been working...
The Mormon couples I follow on Instagram are harrowing. The lady with the big gums and the tiny teeth. I think Meat Canyon even did a cartoon about her. The love of coffee and soda makes me sick to my stomach, and I love soda. It's demonic. It's absolutely demonic what they're doing. Okay, back to this video though. So he works from home. Let's keep the narrative.
Stay in their own comfort zone and stick to what's convenient. But speaking of convenience, I've actually been working a remote work job for the past few years where I just work from my home computer. Now, I know everyone sees like, oh, you work from home, that's like the dream life. And yeah, I mean, it is nice. It is convenient that I don't have to waste time commuting and waste time trying to act busy throughout the day. But it also can be a bit of a nightmare because I wake up, I get on my computer, I do work for half the day, and then maybe I'll play video games for half the day, and then I'll shut down my computer and go back to bed. And then the next day, it's the same thing. Power up my computer, sit on the computer all day, and then go back to bed. And for the last few years, that's been basically my entire life. I mean, sometimes I'd go almost a whole week without ever going outside. And maybe during like the summers, I would at least go out for like a night walk around the neighborhood around midnight. But for the most...
So this guy is actually pretty smart. I think he understands that his lifestyle, isn't a symptom of his depression, that his depression is actually a symptom of his lifestyle. It's the other way around. I think he understands that, but he doesn't really know what to do and doesn't know where to go. How do you make friends? I think he's 30 now in this video, even though he looks pretty young, but he's in his Let's just keep watching.
Part, I was just completely isolated. Now, I've always wanted to go out and try new places and try new things, but every time I would open up Google Maps to look around and see if there's any place I want to try out, I was basically met with the exact same map that I'd seen thousands of times before.
He's going to relate it to a video game.
For my entire life.
He's going to compare it to like Red Dead Redemption.
There was to do. Like, you ever play an open world game where you open up the map and it shows like a check mark for the areas you've cleared? I felt like every time I opened the map of Salt Lake City, I just had check marks across the whole thing and there was nothing left to do. I mean, I always had people giving me suggestions like, oh, if you want to meet people, you should go to bars or clubs, or you should take some classes or join some hobby group. But I'm just like, I don't want to go way out of my way doing something I'm not even really going to enjoy, just for the slight chance that maybe I'll make a friend there. So yeah, I basically just spent years rarely ever leaving the house. I spent the majority of my 20s just kind of bouncing from one hobby to another, whether it was playing guitar, playing drums.
This is the guy right here. Man's search for meaning. You know, he gets a bunch of hobbies. He plays bass. It's all meaningless.
Making YouTube videos, playing video games, snowboarding, hiking, biking.
He does it all.
I was noticing towards the end of my 20s that it was like all of my
hobbies
just sort of started getting boring all at the same time. So while wandering the internet, I came across another hobby that I'd kind of forgotten about. And that was that I always remember loving theme parks and roller coasters growing up. And so sometime towards the end of COVID, I started looking.
So this is, what I like about this too is it's very transparent in that, you know, he admits that his yearning is regressive itself. Because, you know, the Disney people, it's like, you know, you can be a kid forever. It's like, well, you're 300 pounds, you have a bunch of hemorrhoids on your ass, and your husband's dick doesn't work. So I don't know what about your life as being a kid, other than you giggling while you eat ice cream every night before your husband smothers you with a pillow, God forbid. You know, the Disney stuff, it goes without saying, you know, it's a sick, demonic, satanic death cult. Walt Disney was probably possessed by the same evil Hitler was, and I hate everything about it. Now, that doesn't mean, you know, I won't take my kids or whatever and hug Goofy and shit. I'm sure it's... But regardless, this guy is going to move to Disney World from one shithole to another. Salt Lake City is very pretty, but, you know, if you're not a Mormon... You're not in the big club. I mean, it's like being a goy in LA. It's a lonely place if you're not in the club.
Looking into all of the different theme parks around the country. So in 2021, I took a vacation out to the Midwest, doing Six Flags Great America, Cedar Point, and Kings Island.
So he takes the trip and he ends up liking it, right? And he goes, so my new interest is just going to be theme parks, is what this guy decides. So then he plans it. And boy, this guy, I mean, boring stories. He's like dropping his cat off at his mom's place, which red flag. I had to judge him for that, just dropping his cat off. It's like, I don't know, man. The bond between cat and man, especially guys like that, this guy will cut anybody out. He must have been really depressed. It must have been, you know, people wonder, it's that metaphor, why would someone, you know, kill themselves by jumping out of a building? And it's because they would desire to fall rather than burn in the flames. They couldn't stand the heat anymore in the burning building, and that's why they jumped. That's what this man is doing. He's at a burning building, which is, you know, Mormon hell, aka Salt Lake City. And he thinks it'd be a great idea to go to Orlando, which, I mean, Orlando sucks cock, but I couldn't blame him there.
We go through Atlanta, some of the worst traffic I've seen the whole trip. And then we finally arrive in Orlando at 8 p.m. on Friday.
Because, you know, Salt Lake City is already full of Disney adults. The Mormons there, they drink soda, their gums are really big, they look disgusting.
Let's just say that's probably
you might as well go to Orlando anyway.
And we were so sick of pulling this trailer by this point, so we just took it over to U-Haul and left it there. And then we went to Walmart to get an air mattress.
Boring, yeah, boring. Let's get to the bullshit.
Have to spend. I mean,
so this is what he gets. Here's him paying for all of his passes to cure his depression.
Hotels and rental cars and eating out for every meal while feeling exhausted because you're just rushing to get as much done as possible in the short time period you have. And trust me, I understand all of that. I've done those trips. However, being a local really changes the dynamics quite a bit. I mean, for one, I was shocked to see just how affordable it is for locals to visit these parks compared to how much vacationers have to spend. I mean, I probably spent less on my annual passes, giving me full year access, than a lot of people spend on just spending like 2 weeks here. Plus, I can take it easy anytime I go.
Yep.
It's too crowded, I'll come back later. If a ride's down, I'll come back later.
So he doesn't even have to have anxiety about being at the theme park, about being in the fantasy world he's chosen to reside in. He's rejecting the real world, and he's literally living in a fabricated world. He thinks this is the answer to his depression.
Bad, I'll come back later. If I'm feeling tired or just not in the mood, then I'll just come back later. I basically just never have to push myself to do what I'm not in the mood for.
By the way, he mentions in this video, he moved in February, and this is an update from 3 weeks ago. So he's been in Florida. Let's just round it out to a year. He says on his calendar, he marked that there has been only 9 days he hasn't gone to a theme park. He goes every fucking day. There is a darkness this guy's running from I don't even understand. There is an Anton Chigurh tracking this man down. He's being gang stalked by the darkest of demons. It really sucks, man.
You can't really do so.
Because you feel bad for him. You feel like it'd be so easy for him to be happy if he just had a lady or just had people he could go do bar trivia with, or so because he's kind of a boring middle IQ guy, which there's nothing wrong with. If you're a boring middle IQ guy, you're kind of set up to just life to be gravy, be really happy and content and fulfilled. And somehow this guy he slipped through the cracks, the Wojak cracks. This Wojak slipped through the cracks. He didn't land on his feet. And I feel bad for him because now he's just wandering Disneyland like a ghost every day.
If you've only got a few days here. I'll never forget one of the first days I was here where I was just finishing up on work for the day. And I was like, I've never been to Epcot. Maybe I'll just go there right
boring,
now.
Boring. So he talks about Florida, and then he talks about
here all the time. But would I say that
depression.
Moving here cured my depression? I mean, in some ways, I guess it kind of did. I certainly don't get the feeling like my life is wasting away nearly as much now. And it's been really good for me to push myself outside my comfort zone. And it does feel like a bit of an adventure, living far away from family. I get a lot more exercise now and a lot more sunshine and a lot more social interaction, which was my goal of moving here. And I mean, I was just so done with my old life that I wanted to get as far away from it as I could. Now, I know a lot of other people have felt the same sort of
I can't really argue with that. You need a reason to get out of the house. And now that he has a lifetime membership to Disney or whatever the hell, he can, he goes out, he actually, gets some vitamin C from the sun. It's depressing as hell,
depressive
man.
State. I mean, like I said, everyone's really lonely because we're all addicted to our screens now. Now, I'm not saying that everyone needs to move to Orlando.
It makes boring sort of Wojak points. Everybody's addicted to their screens, blah, blah, blah,
If you're feeling depressed, I get that this lifestyle is not really for everyone, but I do recommend every once in a while you should kind of just reevaluate what's going on in your life and ask yourself.
So when you guys see that there is a young man goes at a rampage on Disneyland, 12 dead, 15 more injured, police outside, the FBI is being called, SWAT teams are dropping in, you'll know it's this guy. This goes this guy's got 6 more months before he ends up, just surrounded by police, and he's wondering how many more seconds he has before he has to put the AR-15 in his mouth like Full Metal Jacket. This guy would be lucky to end up like Private Pile. I'm not making a joke here. I'm not trying to be hyperbolic or cartoonishly comedic. This guy's best end is walking into a Disneyland bathroom with an AR-15 and sitting down on the toilet and wrapping his lips around that cold blue steel for the first and final time and pulling the trigger before he harms anyone. This guy gets on the wrong medication or, gets a girlfriend and 2 weeks later finds out he didn't really have a girlfriend. And then he starts, watching Hickok 45 on YouTube and getting really into guns and thinking about joining the army. And then 7 months later, he's parading around Disneyland like he's Colonel Kurtz or something. It's not good, man. And I'm sorry that we went positive with the ICP stuff and then went into this. But I found that pretty interesting.